Yes, as I said, after a top 10 best list does come a top 10 worst list. And like my top 10 best list, these are my personal picks. I'm not saying these are the 10 movies that you should hate. I'm saying these are the 10 movies that I saw this year that I personally just hated for one reason or another. And the funny thing is, there are some terrible movies that came out that won't be on this list because I didn't see them. 2012 was the year that I took a little bit back for myself. Piranha 3 Double D didn't come out in my local movie theater, so I was like, I'm not gonna go search the movie out so I can watch it. I'm better than that. I deserve better. Then when I was doing my Christmas shopping, I found Piranha 3 Double D there for like $5 on DVD, and I was like, I could buy it, but if I spend $5 on this movie and I don't put $5 in the little Santa Claus ringing the bell kettle thing, I'll be a dick, I'll be an asshole, and the $5 could be better spent anywhere else. That's what I'm saying. So there will be a couple movies that are terrible that are not on this list. It's just because I didn't see them because I chose not to. However, of the movies I did see, here they are.
Number 10.
As my top 10 best list started off with an animation, top 10 worst is also going to start off with an animation. Ice Age 4 Continental Drift. Yeah, whenever there's a fourth installment of a movie, you're like, okay, is this going to be forced? Not only is it going to be forced, but it's going to have annoying characters, a villain that's totally miscast. Yeah, if this movie never happened, the world would not be any worse for the wearer.
Number 9.
Was Liam Neeson a badass in Taken? Yes, he was. Was he a badass in Taken 2? Well, he did have his daughter throw grenades off of a roof. That happened in the movie. Moments like that are why this is number 9. People who saw this movie got their money taken. I guess that's something.
Number 8.
Coming in at number 8 is the concluding chapter to the Twilight Saga. The Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2. I'm sure people would think this would be higher up on the list, but it's not. I didn't give this movie a dog shit rating because I felt they really did try given the content. That being said, a cool little throwdown at the end of the movie is just not enough. You look at the movie, the premise, the dialogue between the characters that you don't care about, and you're like, yeah, this is probably gonna make my top 10 worst list somewhere. As bad as its predecessors? No. Good enough to miss out on my top 10 worst list of the year? Not in this universe.
Number 7.
I do have mixed thoughts about the Three Stooges movie because I was a big Three Stooges fan growing up. I almost challenge you to see the Three Stooges movie as I see it, right? Close your eyes and imagine the three main characters are not the Three Stooges, they're three other characters. Who comes to mind? Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider, and someone else who could be in an Adam Sandler movie. I love the old Three Stooges shorts. They're funny, they work for what they are. But this movie is just three people impersonating the Three Stooges with a premise and a script that could have been done by Adam Sandler.
Number 6.
Okay, I thought Underworld was over. Now I know it should have been. 2012 had some moments of great movies. Other moments it was filled with fourth installments that were completely forced. Underworld Awakening is one of those movies. And if it didn't look like a bunch of flashy shit for the sake of making a movie, it looked like a bunch of really over-exaggerated shit for the sake of making a video game. I have to believe if you're an Underworld fan, you still don't like the movie.
Number 5.
How awkward can mother and son get? This awkward. The Guilt Trip. This is one of those movies, the more you think about it, the more you're like, nope, that movie just infuriates me. It's just uncomfortable. This mother-son duo was just one of those situations where you're like, can this family reunion end so I don't feel so uncomfortable watching you two? I would rather watch the girl with the dragon tattoo ass rape scene with my mom sitting right next to me than watch this uncomfortable mother-son duo again.
Number 4.
Every installment of this movie franchise I hate, but every one of them I go into going, maybe this is the one where they'll actually make it good. Resident Evil Retribution taught me, nope, that's just hoping against hope. Resident Evil Retribution was like Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. A bunch of flashy shit and noise was thrown on the screen for the sake of making action sequences with no real point whatsoever. It's just like, no, we're just gonna do it and have it done.
Number 3.
Alright, we're getting down to the wire. These are the three movies where I was like, I could have completely done without that. Number 3 on the list shows us that not only did 2012 have really forced fourth installments of franchises, but really forced sequels also, and that's Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. This movie had a couple of cool-ish scenes, but in the end you're like, why did that happen? I didn't like it because I was sober while watching it. Don't drop acid while watching movies, otherwise we'll keep getting movies like this.
Number 2.
Coming in at number 2, you ever see those movies where you're like, this was meant to come out on Netflix, but it had a couple of big actors in it, so it came out theatrically. Yeah, Cold Light of Day. That's that movie. In my review, I professed that Bruce Willis and Henry Cavill were the only reasons this came out in theaters. Then I was at the store and I saw a straight-to-DVD Bruce Willis movie, and I was like, well, clearly it wasn't him. Cavill, I hope you kill it as Superman. Otherwise, I'm going to remember you for this. Please don't make me do that.
Number 1.
And here it is. This is the movie that infuriated me the most, bored me the most, made me roll my eyes the most, shake my head the most, and just mentally check out of the movie theater. Keeping with the cliche that video game movies are terrible is Silent Hill Revelation. I actually halfway got out of my seat halfway through this movie and I was like, no, I'm gonna stick this out. This movie had nothing interesting. It had some cool visuals, but that is literally it. I really can't add anything I didn't already say in my review of this movie, but as I said before, this movie was made by set designers who were like, hey, this would be really cool in a movie. Let's put them in a movie in a sequence that doesn't make any sense because we're not writers or directors. Silent Hill Revelation reminds me that there's never going to be a really good video game-based movie out there. That genre and those franchises are stuck in this cinematic vortex of just a downward spiral of doom. Wreck-It Ralph is different. It's not a movie based off of a video game. It's an adventure animation that uses an arcade video game multiverse as its playground. As for video game-based movies, no. I suppose I wouldn't hate the movie so much if the acting was good, but when Sean Bean is terrible in a movie, the world didn't end in 2012, but seeing Sean Bean so terrible, my heart did break. Silent Hill Revelation, you top the list as the worst of 2012, my friend. So that is my list of the top 10 worst movies that I personally saw in 2012. So now, like before, it's up to you guys. What are your top 10 worst movies of 2012? Comment below, let me know, or make a video response and put that as a response to this shit. That's how we roll here. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.